One.
Hi, I'm Steven Anderson, and you're watching another edition of Mediaplex Sports Talk. We have another double panel today talking about current issues in the world of sports. Let me introduce you to our first panel. We have Brock Seguin and Joseph Elliot. Okay, guys, let's get started. Brock, we'll begin with you. The NBA is back. Their short season starts on Christmas Day. Talk about the lockout, and now that it's back, how does this affect the world of sports?
You never want to see a professional sports league miss time because of labor disputes. It happened to the NHL in 2004, and their fans suffered dearly by missing an entire season. It almost happened to the NFL this year, but they were able to wrap up the disputes before the season started. The NBA is lucky. They only missed a month and a half of time. Their once 82-game season that was supposed to start on November 1st will now start, like Steve said, on Christmas Day. It'll be 66 games long, and I'm sure the fans are glad to see the NBA return.
You know, Brock, I think it's almost irresponsible on the Players League to deny their fans what they want to see. You know, sure, they want more money, but also people want to see their favorite teams and their favorite players. But, you know, thankfully it's back now, and hopefully they have a great season.
Well, it's been a while since people have heard anything about their favorite teams. What club should people be reminded of, good and bad?
Well, for the good, I think it's definitely Boston Celtics' year. You know, they have that veteran team, and I think all this extra time they have is going to definitely help them. They have a great defensive player through Avery Bradley, and with him backing Rajon Rondo, I think the two of them could be a great threat for the team.
Obviously, a lot of people are going to like the Miami Heat and their stacked offense and the defending champs with the Dallas Mavericks. But for me, I like the Chicago Bulls. I think that they're just one guard away from being a championship team. They've already got last year's MVP, Derrick Rose, on their team to go with the front court with Carlos Boozer and Joakim Noah. I think if they get that guard that can play with Derrick Rose, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with this year.
And for the bad, I have to say the Toronto Raptors aren't going to do so great this year. You know, they have a team that is very young. Their oldest player is only 29, and they just didn't get that extra court time that they needed.
The Detroit Pistons won the NBA championship in 2004, and then they were finalists in the Eastern Conference in 05 and 06. But since then, they've been in a tailspin, and they've been rebuilding. They had one good player last year. The bright spot was Greg Monroe, the rookie. They added Brandon Knight from Kentucky this year through the draft, who's extremely talented. They've got a lot of weapons, a lot of talent on the team, but they're just not ready to be that playoff team, I don't think.
And for your last question, let's talk about something that happened in the NFL. Detroit's Lion Ndamukong Suh was suspended for his controversial kick. What do you think about his 2-game suspension?
Well, a few weeks ago, Joe said that Suh was going to introduce Aaron Rodgers to the ground. Instead, he introduced his foot to Evan Dieterschmidt. Suh's out of control. He needs to, calm down. I think the suspension is going to help him. He's a repeat offender. He just needs to relax. He needs to just play football. He's a great football player. He can't be getting in trouble like this. The Lions need him on the field. They're going to struggle with their best defensive player out of the lineup, and it wasn't a good idea by Suh at all.
You know, if you watch the replays, you do see that Diedrich Smith did provoke Suh, but that in no means justifies his actions. Suh took it to the next level when he stomped on Diedrich Smith and also hit him in the head 3 times. He's had meetings with Roger Goodell and has had multiple penalties and multiple fines. And I think that he needs to learn sooner or later that you can't act that way in the NFL.
Okay, let's move on to our next panel. We have Ian Campbell and Joel Boyce talking about the NHL. Monday in the NHL seemed to be cleaning house with coaching changes. Ian, starting with you, talk about the changes within those clubs, and will those changes help their teams?
I'm going to focus on the Carolina Hurricanes. Kirk Muller just took over the head coaching position. He was with Montreal for 4 years, from 2006 to 2010. He was just with the Milwaukee Admirals last year. They're an AHL affiliate of the Nashville Predators, and now he's a head coach in the NHL. It's kind of big boots to fill for him, but he's already brought a more positive atmosphere to the team. Players are already feeling more positive, and even though the team hasn't turned around on a dime, which they're not expected to, I think there's a bright future for them.
I completely agree with you. Carolina is only 8 wins in the season, and Eric Stahl being the league worst in the plus-minus, they needed a change, and that is a good change for them. But I'd like to talk a little bit about the Washington Capitals. London Knights head coach Dale Hunter comes in. They are 3-6-1 in 10 games, and they need to improve. And Alexander Ovechkin needs to take accountability for his lack of production, and he needs to step up his game if they're going to get back into the playoff run.
Joel, starting with you, if you could make a prediction, who will be next to go?
I would have to say Randy Carlyle of the Anaheim Ducks. They only have 6 wins in this season, and they have a stacked team of forwards. And there's been talks about Bobby Ryan being shipped off to other teams. I would not go that route of trading Bobby Ryan. He is a great prospect. He's a great young player. If they need to make a change in this club, let's start with the coaching staff.
I'm going to go for Scott Arniel of the Columbus Blue Jackets. They only have about 3 wins in the past month. Rick Nash isn't performing. None of their top players are performing. And he's really overstayed his welcome in the sense of coaching.
As for the recent suspensions, what do you think about the suspension given to Montreal Canadiens' Max Pacioretty for the hit he put on Pittsburgh Penguin Chris Letang? Ian, let's start with you.
I think it was an unfortunate turn of events. Pacioretty's a bit taller than Letang. Letang just took a shot, so obviously he couldn't really see, but he was leaning forward a bit, and Max Pacioretty just came across him, hit him in the head with his elbow, broke his nose, and it's just an unfortunate turn of events in my mind. The 3 games, he could have gotten more, so I guess he got let off kind of easy with that, but he gets to sit out of the West Coast tour, which is kind of unfortunate.
I completely agree with you that it is very unfortunate for Max Pacioretty, especially after that hit he took from Chara last season. And now he comes back and he gets a 3-game suspension on the hit from Letang. Chris Letang was taking a shot. He had no idea that Pacioretty was coming by, so it is a little bit blindsided. But I know Pacioretty did not mean to do that. He is a little bit taller, and that's an unfortunate play that happens when you have taller hockey players to the smaller hockey players, that stuff will happen. But Brandon Shanahan needs to make an example. He needs to stop this. Already this season, they're doing better than last with the concussions. And he had to make a 3-game suspension to kind of just prove his point a little bit further.
That's it for today. Thank you for watching Mediaplex Sports Talk. We'll see you next week.